What's up guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're digging into the new COROS Nomad. So up until now, you know, we've had the Pace series, we've had the Apex series, we've had the Vertex series, and now the Nomad. And the Nomad is priced extremely well, and you're going to be able to pick up one of these for yourself for only $349. And like all COROS watches, it's going to excel at battery life, it's going to be extremely accurate with both GPS tracking and heart rate, but the COROS Nomad actually offers a little more, or I should say it's marketed a little differently. Now, it does have features that you haven't seen anywhere else before, but we'll get to those in a second. But ultimately, the COROS Nomad is marketed by COROS as your go anywhere, do anything watch. And that's because those other watches, you know, the Pace, the Apex, those are marketed for athletes. And by athletes, I mean people that are actually training for a goal. Does that make sense? And the Vertex is like hardcore, top of the line mountaineering. At least that's what the watches are designed for. Of course, we can use them for pretty much everything else. Now, the Nomad is designed for adventurers. So it's the type of watch that COROS wants you to take out and just be your partner on every adventure that you can think of. And the new Nomad is going to record those adventures in such a way that separates the Nomad from the other watches. Now, I know a lot of you are athletes, and so you're looking for a watch to track your runs if you go running, maybe cycling, maybe if you do triathlons. Well, I've got some great news for you, because everything that those other COROS watches do, you can do on the Nomad. So for me, my primary sport is running. The COROS Nomad is going to be able to be used as a running watch. It's going to track my heart rate accurately. It's going to track my distance accurately. I'm going to be able to do intervals, just everything. Everything running related that I want to do, I can still do on the Nomad. We just have a nice rugged design, which is a little different from the sleek Pace and Apex. And the Nomad is going to help us record these activities in a way that's going to be specific for each individual sport. And it's going to allow you to create memories. So first of all, let's talk about the watch itself and how it's made. The COROS Nomad has a dual layer bezel. On the outside here, we have a polymer coating, which is ultimately a very hard plastic. And then we have aluminium underneath. So it's going to be very rugged. The Nomad is using a hardened mineral glass for the lens. It is recessed under the bezel, so it's going to protect it a little more when you're out there doing all that adventurous stuff. Now, the Nomad is featuring a 1.3-inch memory in pixel display. And you might be thinking, well, Matt, everyone is going to AMOLED displays. Why has COROS dropped a new watch with a MIP display? Well, I'll tell you why, and that is battery life. But also, this isn't your average run-of-the-mill MIP display. This is COROS's third-generation memory in pixel display. So it's going to be brighter, it's going to be clearer. So you can see here, we've got the Nomad next to my Apex 2 Pro, and even under these bright studio lights, you can see that the Nomad is noticeably brighter than my Apex 2 Pro. So this memory in pixel display has really come a long way. Now, the resolution of the Nomad is 260 by 260. COROS is using a 3-button design. On the right-hand side at the bottom, we have this back and lap button. On the top, we have the rotating bezel, which has been moved up from its center position, much like on the Pace Pro. And this is a rotating bezel and a button. Then if you come over to the left side, we have a brand new button here. This is COROS's action button. And I love what COROS has done with this action button right now. I think there's going to be a lot more uses coming up, and you can program it to do whatever you want. But for right now, when you're in an activity, you can just press the action button and it goes directly to the map screen. So it's very easy to just toggle back and forth between your run data, and then you can just press the button to get to the map. It's a lot more elegant way to access the maps than in the past. The Nomad is using the Ambic Apollo 510 processor. And while I know that doesn't mean anything to you, but I can tell you that it's a very fast processor and everything works beautifully smooth and quickly. You can see when I'm zooming in and out on the maps how quickly everything moves and how quickly everything renders. The touchscreen is very fast and smooth, and it just responds immediately to your touch. The Nomad is using 24mm quick release bands, so it's easy to change them out if you wanted to go with a nylon band or just some other kind of random band. Oh, now the silicone band is the heaviest band out of the two, you know, nylon or silicone. And with the silicone band, the Nomad weighs in at 61 grams. Now this is big. The Nomad features 32 gigabytes of storage, and that can be used for maps and on watch music. So you can drop your MP3s onto the watch and listen to your music that way. Now the maps are free, and you can download whatever maps you want. There are regional, there are global, there are landscape and topographical maps. So all that is available on your Nomad to just make those adventures just a little bit easier. At least find your way out of places. Now here's a really good thing. COROS has updated their mapping software to include street names on the maps. So when you zoom in on the maps, you are going to be able to see the streets that you're on. COROS has also included points of interest, and you can tell the difference between roads and trails. And of course, because we have all this very detailed mapping, you're able to download routes to the Nomad and get turn-by-turn navigation. Of course, the Nomad has all the sensors that you would expect in a sports/adventure watch. We have an optical heart rate sensor, a barometric altimeter, heart rate monitor, a 3D compass, a thermometer, pulse oximeter, oh, and an ECG sensor. And of course, it is going to track your heart rate, your HRV, your stress, your breathing, your SpO2, and it includes 52 different kind of sports profiles. So whatever you're into, the Nomad is going to be for you. Now, but one of the features that I haven't talked about yet that is probably the biggest feature, at least in my mind with a Nomad. When I think about it, this is the biggest feature, and that is that it includes 2 microphones, and that is going to allow you to record voice pins. And the voice pins is part of what COROS is calling adventure journaling, and this is why the COROS Nomad is going to be epic for every adventurer. Because when you are out on an adventure and you come across something wonderful that you just want to record, you can very simply access the voice pins and record a voice recording your emotions, your feelings, what you're seeing. So later when you come back and you've uploaded your workout, your adventure, you're going to be able to see those voice recordings that you made and relive your adventure. Now in the app, the voice recordings are also transcribed. I'm out on a beautiful morning. It's nice and warm. I'm in front of the lake and I am watching a gorgeous sunrise. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm so glad I could make this voice recording to record how I'm feeling. Now, COROS has also made some changes to their app, and this is so you can share everything. This is all part of the adventure journaling. So you are not only going to be able to record voice pins, when you take pictures with your phone when you're out on your adventure, those pictures are going to sync to your activity. So when you pull up the map of your activity, you're going to be able to see those pins that you dropped, whether it be a voice pin, a point of interest, something you just wanted to mark for future use, and your photos. And then you're going to be able to send your entire adventure package, so including the voice pins, the photos, the flyover of your route, to your friends and family. Now, of course, we have seen some of these features on Strava already. We already have the flyover, but it's really good to see that COROS has incorporated this into their own ecosystem, and it's making their ecosystem even stronger. Now, you may have seen this with the Pace Pro, but the COROS Nomad is not coming with a charging cable. Instead, what we have here is a little keychain adapter, which I absolutely love because everybody already has USB-C cables, and COROS gives you this, and very quickly you're going to see that this little dongle right here pops right into the charging port in the back, and then you're just going to grab any one of the numerous USB-C cables that you have lying around the house and plug it in and charge your watch. It is a really effective way not to have another proprietary cable. Why does every device have to have a proprietary cable? I hate it. Anyway, COROS has done away with that. The little keychain adapter for charging is a nice addition. Okay, let's talk about battery life. Now, COROS has made a pretty big change. If you have used a COROS watch before the Pace Pro, then you're probably familiar with the standard GPS that they use, which often gave the most battery life while you were tracking your location. But with the Nomad and the Pace Pro, COROS has found out a way to get ultimate battery life using their all systems on. Now look, I realize this is a little confusing, but in the standard full GPS that COROS used to offer on their watches, when the watches were set to that mode, it would pick up on the GPS and QZSS satellite systems, which means that if you lived in Europe or Australia, you may not be getting the best GPS positioning when you're using the standard full GPS. Now, when you would turn on all systems on, it would allow the watches to access GLONASS, Galileo, and Beidou, as well as the GPS and the QZSS satellites. That means that wherever you're buying this watch across the world, in the base level of GPS satellite tracking, you are going to be able to get the best possible satellite reception. That is without dual frequency. So in the all systems mode, the watch is only connecting to one satellite system at a time. Now, with the all systems on, connecting to one satellite system at a time, the COROS Nomad is going to last you 50 hours, which is an absolute huge amount of time. You can cover a lot of distance in 50 hours. If you are listening to music on your watch, that is going to drastically reduce the tracking time. And when you are tracking in all systems on and listening to music, the battery will last you 15 hours. And of course, if you didn't want to track any activity, you just want to use the COROS Nomad as like your daily watch, the battery will last 22 days. That's a long time. Over 3 weeks as a watch. But of course, if you have already used COROS products, then you know that's not really going to come as a surprise, because if there's one thing that COROS does well, it's making watches with good battery life. The Nomad is really no different. Now, if you're looking for the most premium GPS tracking ability, you're going to want dual frequency. And basically, dual frequency is where the watch connects to 2 satellite constellations at the same time. That's going to allow you to triangulate your position in the most accurate way. Where this really comes in handy is if you are running in a city and there's lots of tall buildings around, or you're like out in the outback and you're running in canyons or with a lot of tree cover. In fact, I actually always use the watch in the dual frequency setting just because I want the best possible tracking whatever scenario I'm in, even if I don't technically need it. Now, when you're in the dual frequency mode, the Nomad will track up to 34 hours. So that's still fantastic. I mean, you could easily do a 100-mile mountain ultra race using the best possible tracking. I mean, I say easily. I mean, relatively easy, right? I mean, if you can already do a 100-mile mountain ultra, it'll probably be easier for you. For me, the run itself might still be a bit of a challenge. Oh, and by the way, those 34 hours do go down to 14 hours if you're listening to music the entire time. Now, because this is an adventure watch, well, you can now check the weather for up to 5 places in the COROS Nomad. That's going to include heat, rain, storms, for up to 96 hours before your actual trip. Now, one of the big features and one of the big pushes of the COROS Nomad that COROS is doing that really doesn't apply to me is fishing. You can now track multiple types of fishing on the Nomad, and I really like this. Like, even though it's something that I will not use just because I'm not a fisherman, but I like this for those of you that actually do fish, because you can track boat fishing, inshore, outshore, kayak, fly fishing, shore fishing. I mean, there's a lot of different fishing activities. Now, in these fishing activities, you are going to be able to log point of interest. You're going to be able to log those voice pins again for that adventure journaling. You're going to be able to log your catch. It's going to tell you the best time to fish. It's going to give you the phases of the moon. It's going to give you the barometric pressure. It's going to give you the tide times. All of this just helping you be as successful as you can be. Now, let's say you're out on a kayak and you come across a little coral reef and you're like, oh man, I need to mark this for the next time I go out. Well, you can pin that location so you can always come back to it. I've just found this really ideal pier that I think is going to be great for fishing. I'm going to mark this spot on my watch so I can come back with a fishing rod. This is going to be perfect and totally secret. Now, let's say you get to that location and you cast out and the current is making you drift away. Well, the COROS Nomad actually has like a virtual anchor, so it has a movement detector and it's going to let you know how far you've drifted away from that pin where you want to be. It's actually a really handy thing. And just for me, going through and just playing with the fishing sport settings, it almost makes you want to go fishing. Okay, so now I want to hear from you. Do you like how this watch looks? Usually I like something a little sleeker, but what I really like is how this watch is marketed. It really speaks to me because as someone that doesn't do a lot of adventures, like I don't go hiking that often. You already know I don't go fishing. I'm basically a sports person around my own house. But in my mind, I think of myself as a mountain man, and I want a watch that allows me to do all the activities that I really would love to do. And ultimately, when I do get out there and I do these activities that I'm always dreaming about, I want a watch that is on my wrist that is going to be able to record everything and allow me to record even more, like record my voice. So as far as like the marketing goes, the watch itself, all its features, yeah, I think COROS is really onto something. The idea behind the Nomad, especially because I can use it as just a regular running watch, it really speaks to me. But guys, before I let you go, I do just want to talk about a little accuracy comparison, and I'm going to compare this watch with a couple other watches that I've been wearing, and we're just going to go through some brief GPS tracks and then some sleep tracking. So on this day, I wore 4 watches, and on this day, my Apple Watch Ultra recorded 5.33 miles, the COROS Nomad recorded 5.36 miles, my Sunto recorded 5.36 miles, and my Garmin recorded 5.38 miles. So except for the Apple Watch Ultra, which is always just a little shorter than everyone else, COROS Nomad is right in line with all the competition, which isn't really surprising. On this next outing, my Apple Watch Ultra measured 7.27 miles, COROS Nomad measured 7.35 miles, and my Sunto and Garmin measured 7.36 miles. So right in line. Now I did notice just a little bit of discrepancy in step counts between my 4 watches, and just using the example from that previous activity that we just talked about, my Apple Watch Ultra recorded 12,736 steps, COROS Nomad recorded 13,227 steps, my Sunto recorded 12,823 steps, and my Garmin recorded 12,936 steps. So yeah, there's a couple hundred step difference between, the highest, which is actually the COROS Nomad, and the lowest, which is of course the Apple Watch. But I don't know, that's over that distance, so 7.3 miles according to the COROS. I mean, a couple hundred steps. I don't know. I'm not going to worry about it. I don't actually actively track my step count, but I just thought it was interesting that there was a difference of a couple hundred steps between the competitors. As far as sleep tracking goes, now look, this is more like an art than a science, at least it seems to me. And I don't put too much stock into it, but this is for just informational purposes. So I want to show you how the COROS Nomad competes with the same competitors. So on this night, my Garmin was actually the lowest, and it recorded me sleeping 7 hours and 53 minutes. The COROS Nomad recorded 8 hours and 6 minutes, my Apple Watch Ultra recorded 8 hours and 8 minutes, and my Sunto recorded 8 hours and 13 minutes. On this next night, again, the Garmin recorded the least amount of time at 8 hours and 27 minutes. COROS Nomad recorded 8 hours and 33 minutes. The Apple Watch Ultra measured 8 hours and 39 minutes. And the Garmin measured 8 hours and 45 minutes. They're all pretty close. I certainly wouldn't take any of these numbers to the bank, but it's good to see them all just kind of lining up. As far as heart rate accuracy goes, COROS is consistently the most accurate watch as far as recording heart rate of all the watches that I have. And that's not just with the COROS Nomad, that is with every COROS watch that I've used. Now, of course, individual results may vary. You do always have to wear your watch quite tightly, so these LED lights on the back are able to shine the light into your blood vessels and get that reading. But guys, now it is your turn. I want to hear from you. Is the COROS Nomad something you'd like to pick up? Remember, at $349, it offers a lot for that price. But for now, it's Matt B. This has been my review of the COROS Nomad. Be kind, be happy, run well. See you in a couple of days.